Welcome to Discovering. We have a few different things on this show tonight. First up, my dad and I hiked down to the river for a little bit of fishing and cooking. Plus, we have an update from the DNR on the wolf management plan, a new gun range in Marquette County, and we stopped by the wildlife through Forestry Forum. So sit back and relax. It's Monday night, and it's time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone, forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak, surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields, call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
This bear season, I was fortunate to harvest a nice Michigan black bear. After I got the bear meat home from the butcher, I wanted to show that bear meat can be cooked and used just like regular old beef. Instead of whipping up something in my kitchen though, I thought it would be more fun to do a little overnight camping trip with my dad instead, and cook with a better backdrop, a river. A good camping meal that is quick and easy is a hobo foil pack. I've never made one, but I know the basics of the process. Wrap some meat, veggies, and seasonings in tinfoil and throw in the campfire coals. I've got the bear burger in the freezer, homegrown onions, and my parents' garden to raid for potatoes and carrots. It will be just like a pasty, but without the crust. Our plan was to find a nice spot along the river, dry and sandy to set up camp, and a good fishing hole to hopefully catch a few trout, since it's that time of year and they should be running upriver to spawn. We did not find a good spot to set up camp. Everywhere was overgrown, but found a scenic one that would work well enough.
I can put it right here.
Okay.
Build a fire down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what looked like a good fishing spot according to Dad. I know zero about river fishing, so don't ask me.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here. It's really pretty right here.
First things first, we need to get a fire going to get a good bed of hot coals for cooking. Problem number 2 with our spot was lack of hardwood. We did have to hike back into the big woods and found a very small dead and down maple tree. It's been a while since Dad has camped out in a tent, so he doesn't have one. I offered to lend him one, but he was all about building a tarp shelter, assuring me he would stay plenty warm. Me, I have a tent, a 0-degree sleeping bag, and a 4-inch inflatable pad. It is September in the UP.
All I need to do is get underneath it. It's over one night, good enough. You'll see, put my tarp by the tarp there on the ground, and I'll just put my sleeping pad in my sleeping bag and face this way. And I'll be snug in the bug and rug. More rocks.
Once camp was set up, firewood gathered, fresh water collected, and a couple lines cast into the river, it was time to make dinner. A freeze-dried meal would have been lighter to carry out here, or we could have relied on our fishing skills, but this show is about cooking my bear meat. So, ingredients: chopped up potatoes, carrots, onions, butter, SPG, which is salt, pepper, garlic, bear burger, more seasoning. So pretty much the guts of a traditional pasty wrapped up in tinfoil. It's easy enough. A question I get a lot is if bear meat is good and what does it taste like? The easiest way for me to describe is it's a cross between venison and beef. It's fattier than venison, but leaner than beef and sweeter too. Bears are omnivorous, eating both plants and other animals and fish, and they are opportunistic, meaning they will eat just about anything that's readily available, making them easy to bait for hunting. Anything in your picnic basket, they will eat. So whether their diet has been primarily acorns and berries, or dead fish and a dumpster, will have an effect on the taste of the meat. Anyways, I think bear meat is delicious, and if more people tried it, I think there would be more bear hunters in the woods. So, throw the foil packs on top of a hotbed of coals, and then wonder why it's taking so long to cook. We realized it would be wise to also put coals on top of the packages, and that helped, until the coals burned down and we had to improvise some more. I am still a novice when it comes to camp cooking, but it turned out delicious, and that's all that matters. Not really. Raw or undercooked bear meat can contain microscopic roundworms from the trichinella family, which cooked improperly and consumed can lead to trichinosis, a curable disease that can in very rare cases be fatal. Not trying to scare you from eating bear meat at all. But for this reason, some people feel it's unsafe to eat, which isn't true. This is the same parasite found in undercooked pork, and people eat tons of pork. Just treat bear like you treat pork and cook until well done or an internal temperature of 165 degrees. After dinner, we sat by the fire, listened to the river, watched our fishing poles, and stared at the stars. And Dad actually caught a fish.
I got him.
Got him.
Maybe 12-inch, I believe, eh?
A nice little brown trout. We survived the chilly night and had time for a little more fishing before we had to pack up and go home. We went downstream a little ways and Dad had a bite right away. A beautiful sucker.
You gotta take a picture of him as a fish.
Yeah.
No, that's a rainbow.
Dad schooled me and caught a couple rainbows and a brown.
Yeah. And in your hole, I put you over here. You put you over there where the fish were, and now look at. He's a fighter. Oh, look at that, huh? Got, can you see it? There we go. We got another little fishy. What do we got here? Look at that, a big rainbow. Huh? There the people. Look at that, huh?
Beauty. Nice.
Nice.
I caught my first ever rainbow trout, not on camera, and another beautiful sucker.
Ah,
Hey, I got a big sucker.
I got a big sucker. Opening a big throat.
It was looking like another beautiful September day, but unfortunately we had to pack up and go home. promising next year we would do this again, and next time stay 2 nights and catch some trout to cook. After our hike back out through the river jungle and the woods, we thought maybe the Orange Crumb shelter on the North Country Trail we did last spring was a nice, easier hike. Time will tell. But wherever we go next, I'm sure it will be an adventure. Earlier this month, I stopped by the Natural Resources Commission meeting at Northern Michigan University. The NRC holds public meetings monthly, but only once a year here in the UP. Among the topics discussed was the wolf management plan. The last time the Michigan DNR updated their wolf management plan was in 2015.
So I'm here to give just kind of a brief update, really a timeline on the completion of our wolf management plan, which will be completed here in 2022. We will have that up for information, so basically the director's review at the next meeting in November, and then up for director's signature in December. So we're drawing very close. There's been a ton of information that's gone into this plan, public input, tribal consultation, the public attitude survey. What we really looked at is what new science has come out. So, we want to drive our wildlife management in the state with science. What is the best information? Not just all the research that we've done here in the state, when we've done a lot of it, but what else would be germane to, say, the Midwest or, our population of wolves here. So it's updating that since the last plan in 2015. But also we know, public attitudes maybe have shifted or values, those types of things. And so we want to account for the social side of it as well. So, we looked at that type of literature and science, but also how is the public feeling? What are their values, their attitudes across the state? And so we've incorporated that in there and many different pieces of the plan that our experts and our Wolf Management Advisory Council provided those recommendations, and we wanted to get those, considered in there as well. Yeah, I would say the attitude is, it's all over the board. It depends where, you live, what your experience is, your day-to-day interaction with wolves or lack thereof in a lot of cases. So, as you might imagine with a population that, resides, as we know, in the UP, it really depends on who you ask.
The last wolf survey done in 2020 estimated approximately 700 wolves in the Upper Peninsula.
And so it's really trying to get the best representation in the aggregate of what all of our stakeholders feel. And you try to make those trade-offs and what's best for, in this case, wolves or the resource, but also what's that balance with stakeholder needs and that variation in stakeholder needs. So it's extremely challenging to do, and especially with wolves.
As of right now, gray wolves are on the endangered species list in the lower 48 outside of the northern Rocky Mountain population as of February of this year.
And that's where we always want to be prepared. And that's why we try to update our plan so often. And so we really wanted to, with all of this on the list, off the list, we really dove into that this year and made sure our plan is just airtight. Whether they're on the list or off the list, we are going to be prepared.
The wolf management plan is in the final stages, going to the DNR director's desk for action by the end of this year.
I just want to, say thank you to all the stakeholders, especially that, filled out those surveys, show up to give public opinion. We really do value that, and we incorporate that in there. And also our Wolf Management Advisory Council and the time and the effort they spent as well. So.
And construction begins this winter on a new DNR outdoor gun range in Marquette County that is 29 years in the making to help combat the usage of an illegal gun range in the county. Cody Cass met with the DNR to give us an update.
My first stop is in Palmer to get an update on the Marquette shooting range and also talk to CPL instructor Sierra from Lead Carpet Firearm and Safety to get her take on the range as well.
Today they posted the plans to go out for construction. We hope to award a construction bid in December sometime before the end of the year. Start construction maybe with site clearing and maybe a little earthwork yet this fiscal year, this calendar year, and then come spring 2023, roll right into earthwork and range construction. And this range is unique. It's going to be the first outdoor DNR range that the public has to use in the Upper Peninsula. We've been partnering in Ontonagon County with Lake Superior Sportsman's Club on an indoor range that they're going to help us operate just outside of the Porcupine Mountain State Park. This is our first outdoor one, and with having 400-yard distance, that's going to be a great opportunity. We've had a lot of members of the public who have said, hey, you know, we can shoot out our backyard to really familiarize ourselves with our pistols, our handguns, even my deer rifle when I'm going to get a 50-yard shot. But I want a place where I can go either just because I like those long distance shots, I want to hone those skills, or hey, I'm going out west on an elk hunt and I want to see if that's an opportunity, see how far I want to be hunting pronghorn or whatever. And we really would love a place that we can get that long shot in. So we heard that consistently, and that was part of what drove how we found the perfect spot to develop. From the time we award construction to when construction's done, we're hoping, like I said, September at the latest, we should be up and running at this location. So I can't say enough how excited the department is to have this first UP range complete, and it should be tracking right along the time that indoor range in Ontonagon is complete. So we're excited to be able to give back to that community of hunters, target shooters, archers, who has been putting in and helping us maintain wildlife habitat, acquire wildlife habitat, and now we're able to develop a shooting range.
This facility is going to be great for running my classes. They have pistol ranges and rifle ranges, which will help other people, even not doing classes, to just be able to come and basically do any kind of shooting that they want. They also are going to have an archery range and stuff for shotgun shooting as well. The pistol range is going to be a great spot to hold these classes because it'll allow more safety for the people shooting. We're not going to have to worry about people trying to shoot rifles next to us at longer distances.
I can't wait to see how the range is when it opens up in September of 2023. Now, last stop was in Marquette to go to the Wildlife Through Forestry event. It's a program that's put on by the DNR and other organizations to teach people about the environment and also the animals that live in there. I talked to Pam Nankervis, habitat biologist for the U.S. Forest Service, to get the full scoop on the program.
Today's event is Wildlife Through Forestry Forum, and today's featured species is the wild turkey. It's called Wildlife Through Forestry because we like to bring to the public ideas on how to enhance their private property for wildlife. We want to encourage people to do well thought out management plans so that they can get timber off their property, they can increase their wildlife populations, they can increase their biodiversity. And that was really why we started these, was to encourage those management plans and it's a cooperative between the Michigan DNR, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and then the U.S. Forest Service, and conservation districts, because a lot of conservation districts have foresters that can help people with their management plan.
What else should people expect at these types of events?
It's really a well balance between just information about the featured species as well as the habitat needs, and then also something about the habitat management. We try to have all three of those components in all of these talks. For example, for tonight, we do have somebody who's really well versed in hunting turkeys, and he's giving out prizes for answering certain questions, and he's showing you different ways of calling in the turkeys.
Asking to be bred when they lay down like this when the tom is coming. This is George. He's a half strut Jake. This combination, in my opinion, is by far the best combination that you're going to find. 3 main calls, so it's a box call, a slate call, a diaphragm or mouth call, and then this is a variation of box call. It's probably the easiest one to use and great for kids because you just push the button back and forth. I prefer slate calls. You can do more of them, so you can cluck with them, and then you can yelp with them as well, and then you can purr with them, which is kind of nice too. So turkeys will purr to fight, and they'll also purr to mate.
We hope to keep doing them. We like to have at least 1, if not 2 per year. We try to do spring and fall for a topic, and yeah, if anybody would have topics that they want us to bring speakers in on, we'd always be more than welcome for recommendations.
To stay up to date on the Michigan DNR happenings and events, type in MIDNR subscriptions into Google, click on that top link that says Michigan DNR, and from there, enter your email address, click click Submit. It brings you to a page where you can pick whatever topics interest you: fishing, hunting, trapping, forestry. Then down near the bottom, you click Submit, and now you stay up to date on everything DNR.
That's all for tonight, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.